Ow, that's my finger.
So now your energy is infused in the cards as well.
Sleeping in a jail cell, I think, is, you can scratch that right off your bucket list.
Hello and welcome to the 25th Hour, a newscast by the Carleton University School of Journalism. I'm Brianne Gonsbett.
And I'm Jake Rumpf. In this episode, we discover the quirky and the unusual sides of this city.
We will look at people sleeping in a jail cell without being arrested, and a young woman who eats lots of bacon to lose weight.
But first, a story about two people who have swept conventional religion under the rug.
My name is Sasha Morin. My pronouns are they, them, and I identify as an eclectic witch. People that practice Wicca, they refer to themselves as Wiccan. They may also identify as witches. Here's all of my weird stuff. Do you want to see some pig's teeth? To be a witch, you don't need to be Wiccan. To be a witch, you practice magic. You practice simply taking your intent, combining it with action to have a particular result. So I was raised Roman Catholic. I went to Catholic school. I was an altar server. I was in the choir. I was in youth ministry. I did all that. And as I got older, that just didn't really fit with what I believed anymore.
The temple is about to be created. May power and blessing descend in this hour upon this place and those who are gathered here. My name is Heather Logan, and I practice the religion called Wicca. I'm an initiate of an Alexandrian tradition coven here in Ottawa. I grew up without a religion, and my family is not religious. The blessing is that conjoined they bring true blessedness. We don't really have a doctrine that people have to believe to be a part of the religion. It's more kind of religion of practice, and what you actually believe is kind of not that important. It's through the practice and the rituals, each person will come to their own understanding. There's a limit to how much we know as humans, and yeah, we just kind of have to live with that uncertainty. Okay.
So the cards are cleansed, so they're not focused on my question anymore. It's more than just a religion. It's a tool to actually manifest change. It's a tool to heal any kind of trauma that you've experienced. The Queen of Swords for this deck, is a fire sign. It's about creativity, it's about passion and energy. I am one of the witches that does worship a devil figure, but I don't see it as, Satan. I don't see it as evil or something that you would see on TV where someone's gonna get possessed. It's not about that. It's about the darker side of life, because life is about creation. It is about joy. It is about the positives and the sunny side, but it's also, there is death, there is despair, there is all that kind of darker side of it. And as well, just as an alternative religion, magic and witchcraft is more, I've found in my experience, it has been more opening, has been more welcoming, more open to different ideas and different ways of being. And as a tool for personal healing and personal change. Well, I feel cleansed.
Sasha and Heather are not the only ones with connections to the spirit world in this city. Ottawa's jail hostel is home to many ghost stories. Jeremy Bolton works at the hostel and knows all about the building's dark history and why people are clamoring to be locked up for the night.
Sleeping in a jail cell, I think, is, you can scratch that right off your bucket list. If you haven't had the good fortune to be arrested in real life, you can always, try it out here to see if you like it first. is pretty famous as one of the most haunted sites in Canada. My name is Jeremy Bolton, Jem Bolton to friends. I'm the Events and Media Coordinator at HI Ottawa Jail Hostel. We are run out of an old jail. It was once known as the Carleton County Jail. It ran as the main jail in the city of Ottawa for 110 years, from 1862 when it was built, all the way up to 1972 when it was finally closed. Everything from stealing a vegetable, stealing a rabbit, hunting in the King's Woods, landed you at the end of the hangman's noose. We do have a gallows here. It is the last gallows functioning in Canada. It was also the site of the last public hanging, Patrick James Whalen. We had 3 official hangings at the jail during the time it was open, and I say official because we do know that the guards were caught and reported on at least 7 occasions hanging people extrajudicially from the beam above where the gallows are. There are 4 jail cells on death row. Typically, the condemned person was kept there for 24 hours a day until their sentence was carried out. The ghost hunters, paranormal seekers, we are very busy with these groups of people who come. They run investigations here very often. They're always very excited about what they find. When you're working here at night, it's very easy to believe that this place is haunted. It was seen as a bit of a black mark on the history of the city, but some forward-thinking bohemians took it upon themselves to adopt the building. We've been here ever since. Where it was once sort of feared, dark, scary, tortuous even, now it's a place where, weddings happen, new relationships are formed, fun is on the schedule daily.
One local bar is swapping the holy water for wine at a place built for prayer. St. Bridget's Church was built over a century ago, but now it's a Friday night destination.
Many churches are now closing in downtown core areas, and in the city here itself, a number of them have been sold. As often they were built in the downtown core areas, they're finding a lot of churches, either the congregation have moved or some of them have even died away, like there's no parishioners left at all. In this church here, we've repurposed the building by putting in a bar. My name is Patrick MacDonald, and I'm here at Tub of Breda, which is the Gaelic for Bridget's Well, built by the Irish for the Irish. This is a place for people to come to meet, where you're forced to have a conversation, because we have no TVs to distract you. In terms of the beers, I have 7 Irish beers that are on tap. Obviously, the most traditional one would have been known as Guinness. Just pull it fully forward, and I turn the glass to wet glass on the inside. Normally what I do with this is allow it to pour to about just above the Guinness sign itself. Then I let it rest for about 15 to 20 seconds as it separates. When it settles, you then re-pour almost to the brim. Produced a perfect pint. I came to Canada in 1989. Over the years, I was involved to some degree with the church. When the numbers showed that the church could not be maintained by the Archdiocese, I thought it would be an opportunity for myself to continue to maintain the Irish connection with the building by investing in the building itself. We're on St. Patrick Street, which is the patron saint of Ireland. My name is Patrick. My wife's name is Bridget. We're in St. Bridget's Church. I went home to my wife, it was around Valentine's Day, and I said, you have to sit down, I have something to tell you. She says, do you have flowers for me? And I said, no. And she says, do you have chocolates for me? And I said, no. And she sat down, so I said to her, I bought it at church, but before you get too upset, I put your name on it. Physically, the building upstairs still looks like a church, so it still has all the old pews, the altars, they're all still there. We will have a lot of events here, from Irish dance to Irish music. We do art and we have a drink, is what we do here. The colours are very deep colours, blues, reds and greens, and it attracts the sunlight, even on the darkest of days, and looks as if there is a light behind it. The unusual thing about that is that they have depictions of stories from the Bible itself, rather than often images of religious people that would be in many, many churches. St. Bridget is the female patron saint of Ireland. She's reaching out to her two sisters on the left and the right, and on the left hand she is now giving life to the earth. So Ishkabaha, which is whiskey in Irish, is the water of life. Whiskey is produced in Ireland and we only serve whiskey here. There's over 100 whiskies here on display at the moment, and the other stuff that's produced elsewhere, we don't really consider it to be in the same league. And now for whiskey. My personal favourite, Kilbeggan whiskey from the Midlands of Ireland. Cheers, or slán as say in Irish.
The organ has long been an instrument in the church. Now, it's one ingredient of a local jazz band's recipe. With organ, guitar, and drums, Nebula Organ Trio are bringing a new twist to the historic genre.
My name's Michel Delage and I play drums.
My name's Don Cummings and I play organ.
My name's Alex Moxon and I play the guitar, and collectively we're the Nebula Organ Trio.
We did a couple of dates with a bunch of other people.
This is true.
And then
This is true.
I think that after the first time we brought...
I didn't know that.
After the first time we brought
okay.
Don in...
Third, fourth choice, is that how it works?
Well, we had Alex Bilodeau, but then he moved too.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, fifth choice.
Yeah.
A lot of times when you play gigs, just like trios with several people, it doesn't feel like there's a concept there. But when we played together, I felt like everybody was on the same page. I think once we brought Don in, after the first gig, we were like, this is the band.
This is it. It's a pretty small scene in Ottawa, so you tend to play with a lot of the same people, but there was like an attractive element of playing with Don, because it's like, oh, here's this like untapped dude who plays some banging organ.
Banging.
Let's check that out. And it was like
Banging organ.
Banging organ.
Horrible.
What's wrong with that?
Nothing.
No?
This is my instrument. This is a Hammond B3. It's an electrical-mechanical device, so there are metal discs, and there's a pickup on each disc, and they spin, and you get a sine wave generated, and then you mix in the different waves using the drawbars here. You can mix in different parts of the frequency spectrum for each note. So the fundamental, and there's a fifth above, and then there's an octave above that, and you keep going up. Oh, this one's broken. That's one small thing I need to go in the back and solder it back on. I haven't had a lot go wrong with them. So they're really built like tanks in a way. That being said, unless you keep maintaining them, you can have death by 1,000 cuts. So they were in production until the mid-70s. It's sort of like the first synthesizer, really. You take it and you can mix in different tones into your sound. When you bought a Hammond back in the day, you tended to typically buy a Leslie speaker with it. And the big thing with the Leslie is that it has moving parts as well. So you hear the horn.
Well, I think jazz, you have more of an opportunity to bring all of these genres that you hear everywhere into it.
And so it's very interactive and social in a way as a musical form. You know, you're not sitting programming a beat by yourself in your basement. The music morphs and is malleable, and that's when it comes alive.
It's really like music of the moment, and it happens in real time. We play music in this classic format, but we're not of the generation where that music was written, so we can't help but have a more kind of a modern take on things. We try and put all the sounds that we've listened to and put it through the kaleidoscope of this kind of instrumentation, which is classic. But we're not classic.
What's next for you guys?
Besides world domination? You know, success is, I think it means a lot of different things to a lot of different people. If we can write tunes that we feel really good about and we get out in a live setting and we feel them connecting with the audience, no matter if it's 50 people in a club or a larger room, there's no greater aspiration than that.
I personally want to open for Beyonce, but that's just me.
Yeah, right.
Well, we all want to open for Beyonce.
Can you send her this?
Yeah.
You're watching The 25th Hour, telling the stories you've never heard of the people you encounter every day.
Racing pigeons is a niche in the sporting community. The birds lay low all winter, but can reach incredible speeds in summer competitions. One Ottawa hobbyist raises and races pigeons as part of a club in the south end of the city.
My name is Louis Santoro, and I have racing pigeons as my hobby. And I had caught some type of disease when I was 3, and the doctors didn't think that I was going to survive. So our next door neighbor had pigeons, and so my dad, to give me something to occupy my stay in bed because I couldn't get out of bed, went to our next door neighbor, asked him for a little baby bird. It was in my room to keep me company all the time. And after that, I've had pigeons my whole life. What I like about it is the fact that it allows me to basically do the thing that I like, while at the same time I forget about my problems and about the bills that I have to pay. This is 3346. He's 18 years old right now. Actually, he's one of the oldest that I have in this particular loft. The racing bird is much more muscular. It's much bigger. The coloring on a race bird varies tremendously, whereas the wild ones that you see, it's like comparing a racehorse in a Kentucky Derby to a donkey. Come on. You can take the donkey, you can feed it all the best feed in the world, but you can't make it race. The pigeon actually is an athlete. There is no set formula as to how to train. The fastest race that I was involved in The bird came home at 70 miles an hour, which is over 112 kilometers an hour. For me, it's a thrill to watch, to see which one of the ones I've sent that comes home first. And I stay out there till it's dark, and I wait for the last bird to come home. It doesn't matter to me. It's the question that is still a mystery in terms of how the birds come back. We don't know how they come back. We're still experimenting with the birds to try to determine how they come home. And it's a marvel. Ow, that's my finger! That a bird can be sent over 1,000 kilometers and come home on the day of the race. How long do I plan on racing? I enjoy doing it. My buddy's 90 years old and he's still doing it. If I'm healthy or if not healthy, but I guess I'll do it for a while yet.
The O train that runs through Carleton will eventually be shut down. Students and teachers will have to find alternate ways to travel to school. Mitch Kudrowski has some pretty strong opinions about what's happening to campus-bound O trains.
Hi, I'm late for class, but you can call me Mitch. Why are the young disenchanted? Why do the birds sing so unhappily? One word, transit. Do you ever feel that things are just completely off track? I mean, that things have just gone completely off the rails. Well, I do, and I'll tell you why. The city has pledged that by April 2020 till September 2021, there's going to be no more O-Train Trillium Line. That's 16 months. That's not gone fishing. That's not be back in 5. That's you have no vital north-south artery for that much time. And I'm mad. And I don't know what to tell you to do. I mean, I could tell you to write to your counselor, but I wouldn't know what to tell you to write. I know this city is overwrought. I know that we're spending more than we ever possibly could on transit. But I can just see them. You know, there's a light on one side of this rail. And we'll take it to our workshop and we'll fix it up there and then we'll bring it back here. And then they gave the poor Todd a pat on the head and gave Cindy Lou Who a glass of water and sent her to bed. Well, I'm not being sent to bed. I'm angry, and you need to be angry. And yes, it might be going to Algonquin College and to the airport, but at what cost? At what cost? All I have to say is thank God I'm graduating.
Thanks, Mitch. There are 30,000 people on the Carleton campus on any given day, a lot of them getting here by the O train. I'm just glad I made it on time for the show today.
Well, Jake, not everything is slow in this town. One woman is taking the fast lane to weight loss.
Her route? Bacon and cheese. The high-fat diet is trending and has healthcare professionals concerned.
Okay, that's about 4 slices, so that's probably going to go in now. You can hear it sizzling. Hi, my name is Tio, and I'm a 4th-year biomedical electrical student at Carleton, and I've been on keto on and off for about 1.5 years. It's easy to understand. It's lowering the amount of carbs you eat to a point where they're almost non-existent. And my New Year's resolution had been to take care of myself like mentally for 2017, so 2018 turned into physically. So I wanted to take care of my physical form and try to get back in shape.
So a ketogenic diet is when our liver breaks down fat into ketones, and that starts becoming the main source of fuel. A lot of people have a hard time sustaining a life like this where you cannot have any carbohydrates. So when I mention carbohydrates, it's not just no pasta, no bread, no rice, it's also no fruit, no certain vegetables, no beans, so no legumes at all. Even certain types of nuts are not allowed. So depending on the carbohydrate, and no dairy. So depending on the carbohydrate ratio of a lot of foods, you're removing a lot of food groups essentially out of your diet. You know, your average Joe that goes and tries it on themselves and they're not being medically supervised could really end up harming themselves. And unfortunately, it's not the magic cure for weight loss. Like I said, yes, you lose a lot of weight initially, but as soon as you get back on your normal diet, you will gain all the weight back that you've lost and then some.
And some paprika. So immediately after starting, I had a lot more energy. I was a lot less bloated as well. I didn't want keto to take over my life. I wanted to still be able to enjoy it, and that involves sometimes a cheat weekend or a cheat dinner. So I try to keep the carbs on the down low, but not completely cut them out if I'm going out. Just because might as well, like, no point in doing this if I don't enjoy life at the same time. So I try to go shopping, food shopping once a week, you know, to Loblaws or Walmart or whatever has deals going on at the time, and buy some meat or vegetables, whatever it is that I need. The rule of thumb I always say, though, is stick to green things, so green vegetables as much as you can, and add meat and cheese to it, basically. It's made a difference in my confidence, I think. I've also started exercising more, so I just feel more comfortable as well in my body. I think it makes a difference in how you carry yourself, whether you realize it or not. I like being able to eat bacon and say I'm on a diet.
People are always dieting. From fasting to keto, people are constantly looking for ways to shed a few pounds. Brandy Awad looked into the latest diet trends for us.
Thanks, Jake. I spoke to holistic nutritionist Yana Lianos. She said fad diets appeal to people who are looking for a quick fix. According to her, the trick is incremental lifestyle changes.
So I'm a holistic nutritionist, and what I focus on is the health of an individual from the inside out. So that includes diet, lifestyle, nutrition, food, exercise, and just living your life as a whole.
Why might someone be drawn to a diet fad?
Diet fads, I believe they're called a fad for a reason. So people want the fastest and easiest way to lose weight. So the first thing they do is they go online, or they do some research online, or they watch certain TV shows, for example, Dr. Oz, and they see that other people have been very successful in a certain diet. But the thing with that is, when people start to believe that their weight loss journey is going to be a quick fix, which generally a lot of fad diets, that's what they entail, it won't last.
So what is the key to healthy eating?
I would say focus on little changes. So for my clients in specific, I find it very tough to just give them a meal plan and say, so this is exactly what you have to eat every single day. They're gonna get, number one, maybe bored of it. They're not gonna be able to follow through long term. And I don't want somebody reading off of a piece of paper, explaining to them what they have to eat on a daily basis. So I just start gradually. So whether it be starting with 12 ounces of water in the morning, and then you do that for a week. And then after that, you start with a healthy smoothie for breakfast. It's just gradual steps and little tricks to know what to do, how to eat healthy when you're eating out, little tricks like that. So it's not like a whole lifestyle change immediately, because that's scary for a lot of people, but just gradually like easing in with slow steps will help long term.
While some people are reaching their weight goals, others are reaching their waste goals. 2 Ottawa women have made it their mission to cut excess household garbage, from disposable coffee cups to wrapping paper. More now on 2 different paths to zero waste.
It's garbage day in Hintonburg and Cumberland. And what do two women living on opposite sides of the city have in common? They don't have to haul their trash out on this icy cold morning.
My name is Jackie Moore. I've been zero waste or going zero waste for about 9 or 10 years now.
So my name's Hannah Gray. I'm a 24-year-old registered nurse in Ottawa. And I've been zero waste now for about officially a couple of months. What zero waste means to me is that it's looking at the products and the things we have in our home and creating a space that not only cuts down on waste but also cuts down on recycling.
Jackie's road toward a zero waste lifestyle began with an illness that forced her to rethink her eating habits. She began to question the health of the environment around her, and when she got pregnant with her 2 children, Kyla and Bryson, she was determined to teach them a sustainable lifestyle.
We grocery shop at the bulk food stores. We take our own bags or take our own jars. It's really awesome that we have places like New Grocery and Bulk Barn where you can bring your own containers and weigh them, so that really helps. But even when you're looking at produce, like if you can stick to the loose produce instead of the packaged ones, or shop locally. We also grow our own vegetables and things like that.
Hannah grew up with parents a lot like Jackie. She was raised learning how to reduce her carbon footprint in the kitchen. But she still has a lot of learning to do, mainly when it comes to reducing her makeup waste and hygiene products.
So the first item I ever bought that was zero waste, which actually at the time I didn't even really realize was zero waste, was a Diva cup. It's kind of probably the most common item that people have, but also the item people want to talk the least about because it has to do with periods and menstruation. I do use a Live Clean conditioner. It is in a plastic bottle, but before you fire me, this is a bottle that I can refill at New. So they have a unscented conditioner line. So once this actual bottle is done, I'll just refill it.
Living a zero waste lifestyle doesn't always mean reducing plastic consumption 100% of the time. Michael Melville, an employee at New Grocery, says you can reduce your carbon footprint in other ways, like buying local products.
If it's produced locally, you don't have to drive or ship that food product nearly as far. There are a lot of stages where waste can occur, not only on the farm, but in terms of transit. It's just taking a long time to get here. There's the factor of putting it on a ship. It has to be refrigerated. If the refrigeration unit breaks down, you have waste subsequently.
While Michael is encouraging people to start in incremental steps, Hannah has a tip of her own.
Don't throw everything that you have out and start collecting things because you see it on Pinterest. I found that zero waste can almost be a fad where they want all their jars to look a certain way, they want to have a certain brand of zero waste products, but you can start with anything.
I guess the funny thing about zero waste is it's kind of become a trend, even though really when you think about it, like our grandparents were doing this long ago and it was just their everyday way of life. So I remember, seeing my grandfather wash out bags and reuse them, and I thought, oh my gosh, that's crazy. And now here I am with like bags hanging off of my sink to dry. Zero waste living is not about a handful of people doing things absolutely perfectly. It's more about getting the broad picture, like millions of people making those little changes, even small steps. That's going to make way bigger impact than, having a couple people doing things perfectly. So, yeah, I believe in that.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of the 25th Hour. I'm Jake Romph.
And I'm Brianne Godsman. Join us next time for a peek into people's lives beyond their front door. Thank you for watching. See you next month on the 25th Hour.